trust to have a subject of security and most of the audience disappears. So, and I'll touch upon that part of the fear psychosis that exists with the word technology. Great redeeming fact was that across the sessions today, you could hear technology transformation as an integral part of business, whether it was PC Mustafa or whether it is Naika Falguni Nayar or Kishore Biyani, everyone talking about digital transformation as a key element to their success. Let me start with sorry. So have you guys been feeling lucky these days? I do. So every third day, I get an email from a Nigerian minister offering me some huge amount of money or a lottery that is won. And each time the amount seems to be some $10, $12 million. And I keep wondering that when I was actually raising my funds, where were these guys, right? Would have been lovely to have some kind of money coming to my way out of ordinary. But this is the most standard and the most lucrative form of social engineering attacks that happen these days. And the most successful at that too. A large percentage of these attacks go through, surprisingly from a statistics perspective. I wanted to narrate a story of what we came across with one of our customers. This is a customer of mine where about 150 of their employees received an email saying that there is a parcel that has been delivered or likely to be delivered at their home, and there is no one to receive the parcel. And if they were to receive the parcel, they better click the link in the next couple of hours and give the information that is required to be given so that the parcel could be delivered that specific same day. Guess what happened after that? About 25% of people clicked on the email. About 15% of the people entered the details that were being asked of that form that was attached to that email. And about 5% of the people replied to the do not reply email offering information about their wife's phone number, wife's email ID, neighbor's number, neighbor's email ID, and so on and so forth. Now, all of us know whether we ordered something from Amazon or right. Even you would have known something would have been ordered or not. But even after that, you had people clicking on the link and offering this information. And how did we have this information? The exact statistics? Because it was we who ran the campaign. So on the behalf of the customer, without telling anyone, we ran this campaign as part of the risk awareness to the organization. And this was a very eye-opening statistics for the customer because they never in their wildest dreams anticipated that after so many security awareness campaigns that they were conducting, this kind of behavior would have been anticipated. And while there was a simulated attack, if this attack had actually gone through, what could have happened is that first of all, a lot of personal information of yours would have been divulged because you have voluntarily given a lot of information. A great chance of a great attack vector, as it is called, is when you click on a link, behind the scene, a potential piece of software could have been downloaded. That piece of software could have created a ransomware attack, a financial theft, of stealing of information, and so on and so forth. So while this was a simulated attack, if this was an attack in reality, this could have caused immense harm to the organization, right? And why I bring this issue up is because most attacks, there is a movie called Catch Me If You Can, popularized by Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks as the two protagonists. And the statement he makes post after he joined FBI, he makes a statement that most of the attacks that happen are not because of a sophisticated individual sitting somewhere in North Korea, Ukraine, China, as the way we hear it, who carry out a significantly large attack. It happens simply because you go on the web, click on something that you're not supposed to click, and invariably do something that you're not supposed to do, and potentially create an issue for the organization, right? Meet the human malware, the most dangerous malware of all. You could have heard a lot of other malware names, ransomware, malware, spyware, adware, but the worst of the lot is human malware. Before technology became that prevalent, all you had to do to glean information for a company was to go to a neighborhood chai stall where the employees of the companies would aggregate and just eavesdrop on conversation. A very good likelihood that you would hear sensitive information about the company being talked of in form of gossip in the company. That chai, the innocuous chai, is now replaced with curiosity, hubris, apathy, and ignorance of humans that is used very effectively by the hackers to create out attacks that can never be replaced with technology. So to me, the biggest issue that we will have to deal as corporates, as CEOs, as owners who are in this audience, is to understand for each and every member of our organization the issue that the individuals that work into the company bring from a security perspective. And now with the extended value chain, where your customers, where your employees, contractors, stakeholders, supply chain, you start giving access to those people, you do not know what those boundaries are and therefore what the issues could be. Across, we've been hearing significant growth in digital footprint, right? So we heard PC Mustafa saying that ID is actually an IT company. So no one would have thought that a good old simple batter maker would actually be dependent so heavily on technology. He kept reeling about statistics in terms of how significant the company improvement has been. So every industry, the agriculture becoming agri-tech, finance becoming fintech, med becoming medtech, is a reality that we all deal with. So technology is an integral part of how you're going to do business. You do not have much of a choice of not embracing it because your competition is doing it. A recent survey by IDC and Microsoft, this is all India statistics. Nothing I'm talking about here is global. I wanted to make it as relevant to the audience that's out here. Of 90% of the 1,000 Fortune CEOs that were interviewed claim to have a digital strategy of some shape or form. And through the sessions today, if I was to look at it, every single CEO who came in today spoke about a digital strategy. So this is a reality. And the statistics that, in terms of improvement that one can look at, take case of PC Mustafa, 90% return to 1% return is a significant benefit that one can look at. Or what Nykaa was talking about, Falguni was talking about in terms of how they're reducing the cost of returns as they go along. So technology plays an integral part of how you run business. If technology is going to be so omnipresent, the questions that you will have to ask of yourself is what, therefore, it changes for your business, right? How does your brand get impacted? If you have a significant digital footprint, a significant online premise, what is the impact that your brand is going to carry should something go wrong? If you are so heavily dependent on technology, what is the business continuity impact that you will have should your systems go down? And if you are now collecting so much of data, Mr. Kishore Biyani said that he has got 8 years worth of data, all personal sensitive information of individuals that have shopped at his stores. This is privacy data that needs to be guarded very securely. India is coming out with its own Data Privacy Act. You need to make sure that you do not run foul of compliance if you start abusing the data. So this is the world that we live in. The reason I bring this two context up is to kind of get a thinking going from a CEO's perspective. On one hand, you have no choice but to embrace digital transformation. And on the other hand, the cybersecurity attacks don't seem to be ending. But when I talk to the CEOs and the owners of companies, one statement that kind of irks me is that this is not for me, right? They believe that this problem is for some larger corporation, a bank, a large insurance company, a large retail chain. I am too small, I am too innocuous, I am not compliant, I don't have much to lose. That's the problem that the CEOs say. I just wanted to show some examples in the recent past, a fairly set of high-profile cases that happened in India, hopefully should wake you up. So of this, only one is a bank. The rest have nothing to do with finance, first of all. But let's take the case of Game of Thrones. There is a production processing studio out of Mumbai that was given the order to process season 7 Game of Thrones episodes. 2 of their employees decided to leak the episodes, right? The hit to HBO was $100 million. And I'm sure HBO is a large enough company, they can take the hit. But what about this company? Tomorrow when they will go and talk to another customer asking for business, do you think that a customer will trust them with doing the post-production for them? If they lost this IP, because for media, the movie or the serial is the IP, what else can they trust them with? So to me, it's a business continuity issue that I just spoke about earlier. Naptol.com, a very popular television shopping website. 5 of their employees, when they left the company, stole the entire IP along with them, set up a company exactly the same as Naptol with their entire technology. And it took Naptol 5 months to figure out what had actually happened. In the intervening period, lost 100 crores, right? And the reputation, other issues. These are things, these are sensitive to the organization, which you would have assumed that the companies could have guarded to the hilt. But that's not what happens, right? So at a minimum, the understanding of what is sensitive is missing, and at a maximum is complete pure apathy as owners, as CEOs that we demonstrate. I wanted to take an example. There's a nice Mercedes SUV car outside, GLC, and I just happened to walk by there. It says a top speed of 260 kilometers an hour. Not that you can drive that much in Mumbai. You better get 2.6 is also good enough. But assuming you could drive 260 kilometers an hour, it would be a great buy to have, a great ride to have. And what would this car be without a brake? What is the purpose of a brake in the car? If I was to ask you, most of you will say it is for you to slow down the car or to stop the car, right? A negative connotation, right? It is meant to be anti-fun, anti-acceleration. But in my opinion, the only reason that the brake exists is that you can drive the car actually at 260 kilometers an hour, right? Because without the brake, you would never venture yourself to be driving that vehicle at that higher speed. Think of security in that context. You have a digital transformation coming your way where you do not have much of a choice, and then you have this whole security issue that comes up because of the way the hackers are using it. Think cybersecurity in that context. The message that I have for CEOs is time to take control. Just like a brake is a control to the car, think about how would you take control to your organization from a security perspective. Now, this fear of not understanding security as a technology subject is a myth that I want to forego. Let's start by asking 5 critical questions. What is the critical asset? I'm sure if that company that had lost Game of Thrones episodes would have known what the critical asset is. They would know what the potential threat is. Someone is trying to steal it. They know where these assets lie. You know where your episodes are getting stored. You know who has access to it. The only thing that you probably would not know as the CEO of that company is what is the technology that is guarding it. So barring the last question, the other 4 questions were all business-centric. They had nothing to do with technology. So if that is the case, why can, as CEOs, owners, why can't we take that responsibility onto ourselves to really understand what is important to us and how are we running our businesses and what is there to guard us? So this is the message that I would like to take on. That it is our responsibility to our shareholders, stakeholders, as owners of the company to really understand what is it that the organization stands for and what is the impact that a security breach can cause to you. And how do you solve this problem? It's a security triad. It is people, process, and technology. So even here, technology comes the last. You have to make sure that every single employee, contractor, extended value chain member of yours understands the overall security risk that the organization faces on account of the actions that they permeate on the systems that you give access to. You need to have the right set of processes in place to be able to ensure that the processes are guarding the IP and the sensitive information that you have laid for in the organization. And the last, you can definitely call your IT guy to be able to talk about the technology elements that are essential for the organization. And the last message, since I'm short on time, it is better to deal with cybersecurity than to deal with cyber adversity. It takes much lesser a cost of building technology, process, and people guards to ensure what is critical to you in your organization that is protected well enough than to invest money in later trying to recoup what has been lost. So I'm sure for the company that lost the IP for Game of Thrones, I don't think anything could have been done. It is lost. The fact that JNPT was shut down for 3 months and therefore no cargo could be delivered, you can't claw it back. Unfortunately, in the cybersecurity world, what is lost is lost. So when Bank of Bangladesh lost $81 million, only $1 million came back, 80 million got vanished. So that's the problem with security. It is better that you deal it in advance than to deal it in adversity. That's it. Thank you so much.